again, golfers. My name's Glen Osborne. You may have heard about this idea of the movement of the hips in the golf swing. I'm hearing now something to do with bump the hips. One time there used to be what was called a reverse C. Big hip turn, back like this, people hurt their backs, so they got away from it. One of the next things I heard was sliding the hips. Somebody told me, cousin told me, that one of the things that the good golfers were working on was something called sliding the hips. And I thought, if I slide my hips, am I not doing that reverse C thing and hurting my back again? More recently, a few years ago, I began to hear something called bump the hips. Bump meaning a much smaller movement than slide. Slide. Bump. My interpretation was get an aggressive little swing, bump, my hip, my spine's out of position again. Well, then the next thing I hear is called a little bump. Little bump. I don't know how you measure a big bump and then a little bump. A little bump and turn. These teachers are teaching in 2 dimensions, up and down, side with width. They don't realize, I'm showing you this again, the club touching 2 points in my back. All the body mass is forward. Look at it this way. I've got height, I've got width, height, width, and I've got depth. Back to front. Back to front. That's 3 dimension. All the body mass is forward from these 2 points in my back. Here's where my hips pivot. Right here at this low point. My hip joints are here. An inch, 2 or 3 inches ahead of these points. Your hips do not rotate around the center of the hips. Your hips rotate around this point at the back where the spine is. When you have that happen, a little turn that the pros use, your camera, your instructor, only sees the front of the hips. It looks like a slide in this small of movement. Or a bump. Now, I'm doing that what? You may have seen what looks like a bump. And then a turn. And yet all I'm doing is focusing on twirling this point at the back of my spine that's between my hips. But behind the hip joints. Watch again. Twirling that spot. There would be what looks like a sideways bump and then a turn. But the whole thing is a turn. And I get a more aggressive turn. A little trick that I've told my students so they wouldn't hurt their back. Keep their lower abdominals tight from beginning to end of their swing because they do not have golf tummy muscles like the pros. So protect your back. Tight! Like they're squeezing. I won't go into that. Alright? And when you turn, muscles loosen up in your hips and your buttocks, simply tighten them up. I call it squeeze your buns together. The first man I did that for, he was about ready to quit his golf because he was hurting his back. So, squeeze your buns together. It gives the appearance of the front surface of your body. It gives the appearance of a bump and a turn. But the whole thing is a turn by squeezing these buttock muscles together. Squeeze the gas in. There's a little bit of relaxation when you turn your takeaway. These muscles relax as though parting. Pinch them together and you get a perfect turn of the hips. Alright, hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what the hips are to do. Squeeze the buns together. At the same time, I'll have my students brace themselves as they'll get ready to push a car out. When you turn here, your leg muscles, firm as you keep them, your leg muscles will relax in a rotating manner. You brace yourself, that tightens the muscles and brings your knees, starts your knees back through. They continue on through in a little bit more of a further rotation. Squeeze your buns together to start your swing.